media outlets. It's not the American Council or the National Federation for the Blind. It's the American Council and the National Federation of the Blind. I am blind, and therefore I cannot look in the viewfinder, and I don't care what the visuals look like anyway. So if you can't see my face, sorry, not sorry. But if you are doing a story about, or even writing a check for, or hearing about, or talking about in any way my blindness advocacy organization or the other one, please get our names right. Am I nitpicking about nothing? Maybe. But I think it does make a difference. We're not the American Council for the Blind or the National Federation for the Blind. We're the National Federation of the Blind. What difference does it make, someone might ask? Well, I think it kind of does make a difference. For implies for the benefit of, or to help. And although we do that, we strive to empower those who are blind to better their lives through the appropriate teaching or assisting people who are blind is part of what we do. But it's not the only thing that we do. A lot of us, first of all, a lot of us are blind. We're not just looking out for the needs of the blind, we are blind ourselves. Secondly, it's not just about helping blind people, it's about showing sighted people that just because we're blind doesn't always have to mean that we can't do. Showing sighted people how to best help the blind or deal with the blind. It's about blind people making an impact in the lives even of people that are not blind, or in the attitudes or the minds even of people that are not blind. And agencies, quote unquote, for the blind don't necessarily focus on that as much as they focus on assisting blind people. So I'm not saying that agencies and organizations that assist blind people, or the parts of our organizations that assist blind people, are not valid. They are very valid. I'm just saying, get it right. There's a difference between the state agency for the blind, who I would call and say, I'm just pulling a scenario out of the air, this hasn't happened, but who I would call and say, okay, caseworker who I worked with when I had a case with you guys, my case is closed now, but now my job has changed and we have a computer aspect of it, and my company has its own computer system and I need to learn their computer system. Can I get some post-employment services? Can the computer teacher take a look at their system and help me learn it? Yeah, we're the agency for the blind. We help blind people. That's what our job is, the agency would say, and they would do that. The American Council of the Blind and the National Federation of the Blind, now you almost had me doing it, you guys. The National Federation of the Blind and the American Council of the Blind don't just do that. I think the National Federation of the Blind says it best in a slogan in the magazine that they publish. I'm not sure if they still put that in their magazine or if they always have and always will, but at one point, the National Federation of the Blind's Braille Monitor said toward the beginning of their of every issue of their magazine. The National Federation of the Blind is not an organization working for the blind. It is the blind working for themselves. Or the NFB is not an organization speaking for the blind. It is the blind speaking for themselves. And the American Council of the Blind, although I don't know if they have a similar logo, it is not an advocacy organization that exists for the blind. It is the blind existing and advocating and making impact for themselves. In other words, these advocacy organizations don't exist for the sake of the blind. They exist so the blind can get involved in their own organization, in their own group that makes a difference for themselves and for other blind people. So call me a nitpicker over nothing, but it's not the American Council and the National Federation for the Blind. It's the American Council and the National Federation of the Blind. Whether you are a part of the National Federation or American Council of the Blind or not, if you're blind enough to I've got to be careful about how I say this. You don't have to be blind to be a part of those organizations. You just have to believe that blind people can be capable if given the right opportunities and using the right techniques. If you are blind or visually impaired, I'm just going to put it that way. If you are blind or visually impaired and too blind to see like a sighted person and need assistance from a sighted person on demand, you might want to check out IRA. There's a link in the description below. If you believe in any kind of disabled person finding the right job and keeping it, please sign the Walmart Preserve the Job of Door Greeters petition. If you believe in monetization on YouTube, but don't believe that a person should have to have borderline YouTube celebrity status in order to get there, please sign the Do Not Demonetize petition, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Take picture button.
What do you mean take picture?
Stop recording video button.
Yeah, how about we stop recording video, and if I could have edited this out, I would have. Sorry.